How's it going, you sexy beast? Happy Sunday, one and all. I know this episode is coming out late, per usual, but it's taken me a little bit to get everything I wanted to get together and talk with you guys, get some lovely questions from you guys, and overall, words, yeah. So if you guys have been unaware, have been uploading some stuff on YouTube recently. Not a whole bunch of stuff like I was planning, but that'll be next week. I promise you guys. I've been overloading myself recently with like 4 video ideas where I've gone and got the bases laid out on every single one, but then I never really followed through to finish them at all. Excuse me. So that should be starting up next week. I got some machinima that I've got working on. Fanpick Friday will indeed be picking back up on Friday, which I'm going to be going back to the old way of things, but not as lengthy episodes, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, should be some interesting stuff to look forward to on the channel. I'm going to be having fun with it, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Whole bunch of new stuff is coming for the Twitch stream. The channel has been practically redesigned. I've been working my ass off on that. The overlay and everything is going to be much cooler looking. I have some animated stuff. I made my first GIF. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure you guys don't give a shit about that. I'm sure you're here for some lovely questions and answers. Yeah! So, I picked a handful, I believe about 5 or so that I have right here that I want to answer for you guys. So, thank you once again, by the way, guys, for being so awesome, so sexy in general, and just being overall badasses and hanging out with me throughout the channel's hardships. I greatly appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and I love you. Yes, you. I love you. Don't tell anyone else. Okay, so we're going to start off with Mr. Jack Gould. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the crap out of your name. He says, "Hi, Drath. My question for you is, what is your most fond gaming memory, and what is your favorite game?" I'm asking it in 2 parts because whoever I ask don't always say their best memories are from their favorite game. Keep it up, love the content. And I'm probably going to have to be one of those people again, Mr. Jack. My fondest gaming memory was playing Halo 2 with my brother back in this weird place called Blockbuster. It was the first time he and I had ever competed in any form of competition, video game related. Halo 2 had just come out, I believe, 2 weeks prior, so we were still kind of new to the game, and it was a Halo 2 tournament, 2v2. I think it was like a group of 8 would jump in, and the top 2 teams would move on to the next bracket. Crazy stuff like that. There were a ton of people there, and down to the wire, my brother and I won by a single kill. It was the most exhilarating and awesome thing I'd ever done, and I was like freaking 10 at the time. I don't know. It's been a while. It has been quite a while since Halo 2 even came out. And with that, my brother got some game, but they gave us 2 games. Since we had won, it was freaking awesome. I got a collector's edition of the Mech Assault 2, I believe. Mech Assault 1 is like my favorite game on the Xbox, the original Xbox, aside from Halo and Halo 2 and all that jazz. But Mech Assault 2, since I got the collector's edition for free for winning in a competition with my brother, that was by far my best gaming memory. But my favorite game, it's got to be Half-Life 1. I've spent so long just playing modifications for the game, such as Master Sword Continued, Savin Co-op, Natural Selection, the list goes on. There's so many games that I played because of that. Firearms, Team Fortress Classic, Counter-Strike. Half-Life was just the pioneer of gaming for me, and the whole modding scene for that. So Half-Life, hands down, my favorite game ever. It's just awesome. I still play modifications to this very day. It's just phenomenal. Mr. Gleonard1234X says, Q&A, what is your opinion on Destiny? You haven't played it, I'm guessing, but what do you think from what you've seen? You are indeed correct. I don't have a console, so I have not had the opportunity to play any Destiny. But from what I'm feeling, I'm kind of looking at it like the same way I did with Left 4 Dead 2. The day that I bought Left 4 Dead 2, it was like a year after the first Left 4 Dead, and everybody's like, hold up, that don't make sense. but Call of Duty's been doing it ever since. But I had deep buyer's remorse when I first got Left 4 Dead 2. I played through it like 2 hours and I was like, that was it? Really? What is this? And as time went on, Valve introduced a lot of modding tools. They allowed free content to come out, plenty of updates, and support to this very day. So hopefully Destiny will be the same way. I'm not entirely sure how I feel with it since I haven't spent $60 on it. It's a lot easier to look in without having any form of investment into it prior. But the people who have paid the $60 price tag on it kind of want to protect their investment and rationalize themselves. But honestly, I'm not that interested in it. I was on the hype train. I have to admit, I was on the hype train for some Destiny, but I didn't want to shell out $400 for a PS4 to even play the game. So I was not one of the people who played it. It looks neat as a Borderlands hybrid with Halo. That's about it. It looks, all the animations and everything look exactly from Halo 3. So my thoughts on it, the game seems very mediocre, as everybody already states, and I'm not really a big fan of them seemingly taking out bits of the game in order to sell it as expansions later on. That's just what I'm thinking. I could be completely wrong, so let me know in the comment section below your opinions on Destiny. Noodlenomnom asks, if you were to change two things in either Battlefield 4, Hardline, or whatever, or PlanetSide 2, what would you change? What would you like to see left alone? First and foremost, for Battlefield 4, or there's not much I'd like to change in Battlefield 4, but Battlefield Hardline, I would really hope that they make the single player worthwhile. They're pushing single player so hard. I don't feel like they can mess up a Battlefield multiplayer. I just think that's really hard to do. So I hope they have the single player really well polished, and the multiplayer needs some awesome diversity. I'm glad that they're going back to the Bad Company 2 settings where the assaults are no longer medics. They have assault rifles and they can give ammo. So the people with the best guns can't also heal themselves forever. And the medics are now the dudes with the light machine guns, which I love playing with light machine guns. But the whole reason I play with light machine guns in Battlefield 4 is because they give ammo. So Hardline, it's really interesting. I can't say much on the game until that actually comes out or they do their second beta or demo or whatever it's called. As for PlanetSide 2, what would I like to see changed? I would really like to see the air game changed, as well as any form of metagame. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, no pun intended for mentioning air game, but the air game right now is all about elitist white knights. Everybody in the air believes that they are better or on a higher horse than everybody else. I tried doing the Earning My Wings series a while back. I'm sure you guys could remember. I kind of stopped doing it because I didn't know the direction I wanted to take with it, since I felt like I was giving you guys a really bad product overall. But also, every time I killed some dude and I was a freaking noob, since I was like battle rank 35 on my Terran dude, people would go like, "You fucking suck. Oh, that was bullshit. You shouldn't have killed me. You're bad." So the air game in PlanetSide 2 is like the caustic, most garbage thing imaginable. And if it just got taken out of the game, that would be fantastic. And another thing I would like to see changed would be the metagame. One thing I like to compare it to is Natural Selection 2, or just any game where it's a first-person shooter and there's a commander aspect. I really like that commander aspect because it gives it a broad sense of something. In PlanetSide 2, the commander aspect is kind of just implied. There's no one there to like click you and give you orders. That would be freaking cool. With platoon leaders, if this would ever be implemented, they could hop in a command chair, get taken straight to the map, and given a whole bunch of tools that they can use to support their teams. Say, for example, they've captured a base and there's no vehicle terminal nearby. You can just be like, I'm dropping a Sunday on your ass. And it doesn't have guns or anything on it. It's just used as a troop transport. Instead of just redeploy side being everything. And what would I like to see left alone? Frame rate get fixed? I don't know. There's not a lot I would like to change in PlanetSide 2. I mean, there's not a lot that I would like to leave alone, more specifically. But Battlefield 4, the gunplay, I wanted to say exactly where it is. Battlefield 4's gunplay after this recent patch is now superb. Next up, Mr. Timothy Peterson asks, what do you think about a Ghost Recon themed Battlefield 5? It would open up many new gadgets and weapons, which is all DICE care about. Great vids, man. Thank you very much, Mr. Timothy. And I think that's where DICE is kind of shifting right now. With their upcoming DLC or expansion, what have you, final stand for Battlefield 4, they're trying to get the game back to where it was with, for example, Battlefield 2142. And that's where I think, Mr. Timothy, that they are pushing DICE, or rather Battlefield, into with that Ghost Recon advanced warfighter kind of deal, where they have plenty more gadgets and cool, unique weaponry, such as Bad Company 2's XM8, which is now no longer being used. But we'll see after Final Stand. Final Stand, everybody is really hoping that the next Battlefield from DICE is going to be 2143, and I will be right there with them. If 2143 comes out, I'm losing my shit. But it would be interesting that if DICE pushed forward that 2143 aspect, so we can get some more mechs in here and just blow people up. It'd be awesome. Mr. Eddie Grant asks, hey Drath, got a question for you. As a content creator yourself, do you think other content creators should see YouTube first and foremost as a job or as a hobby, even when you're making enough money from it to call it a job? Mr. Eddie Grant, that is a very interesting question, and this is something that I don't feel I can subsequently or precisely properly answer, which I jumped into YouTubing as first and foremost as a hobby. I had a crappy part-time job while I started it off and just worked my way through there, and now where I am now, it's kind of a source of income for me. It's not enough to keep me running, but it's supplemental, and I still view it first and foremost as a hobby. I would love to make it a career. That's my dream. It would be awesome as hell to have YouTube as a career. But I feel like if you jump into YouTube assuming that it's going to be a job right from the get-go, you're going to get burned out immediately. Your overall production quality may dip because you're trying to focus so much on I have to make this instead of giving it time and letting yourself experiment and get things out properly, which I've run into multiple times, as I'm sure you guys can tell. But even when you're making enough money to call it a job, look at Mr. Frankie on PC in 1080p. He is going to school, or is working to be a lawyer of sorts, and he's got 2 million subscribers on YouTube. He could just stop whatever the hell he's doing and focus purely on YouTube, but he still does it as a hobby for a pastime, as I'm sure supplemental income as well, or just straight up that's what's funding his schooling. But I think he's a prime example that he's not letting popularity go to his head. He's still staying humble, and he's still focusing on his dreams rather than just going, oh, YouTube popularity's taken over, I'm just going to stop what I'm doing. He wants to be a lawyer. He's pursuing it. So even if you are making enough money to call YouTube a job, if you still have the mentality of it being a hobby, then it's going to last much longer for you, which I think is really neat. YouTube is a very fickle beast, and one that I enjoy trying to tame, as I'm sure many other people are as well. And lastly, Drater, the Prophet of Iden, asks, or has a paragraph worth, Drath, how do you feel about SOE completely revamping the Heavy Assault? As it is right now, it's not too far-fetched to say that the Heavy Assault can raffle stomp just about anyone in a firefight. I understand that SOE wants the Heavy Assault to be the main guy to soak up damage with their shield and put out damage with their LMG and rocket launcher, but right now it seems that the Heavy Assault is mostly used as a keep myself alive to keep up my MLG beastly KD, mom get to camera sort of class. I missed out a hashtag. And even so, the Max is a ton better at soaking up damage than the Heavy Assault. So previously in another Q&A, I did answer another thing about the Heavy Assault, and how I stated my thoughts on them being as the forefront, the thick, juicy bits of a military in planetside. And I still kind of view them as that way, but back then I also used to play Heavy Assault pretty much exclusively. I would play Heavy Assault, Engineer when I wanted to shoot people with grenades, and then Medic if I wanted like a whole bunch of points and not worried about killing people. But the Heavy Assault just feels like it's better than everyone else. It's kind of weird. I think heavy assaults are still going to reign supreme in just about any given scenario because you have to worry about bosses to fight. I mean, tanks, since they are the easiest of dealing with vehicles being very, very difficult to deal with in smaller fights, but in larger fights they're more easily to take out. But until they put in that delay of the heavy assault's overshield, heavy assaults are still going to pretty much reign supreme and just dominate in just about every situation. So I don't think that heavy assaults should be revamped. I kind of like them having the rocket launcher and the LMG. I kind of feel like the rocket launcher could maybe shift it over to the engineer and the anti-infantry damage of it reduced further, and it be made purely into a vehicle-destroying weapon. And then the heavy assault maybe has 2 primaries. That would be cool as shit. Instead of rocket launcher and LMG, maybe you could have an LMG and like a shotgun or an SMG as your secondary. I don't know. There's a lot of potential with the heavy assault because they have so many slots available for them, and they are called the heavy assault. So there is something there that needs to define them as being a heavier loadout than other classes. So, as you say, maxes are a ton better at soaking up damage than the heavy assault. Maxes are just overpowered and better at everything than anyone. So it's really hard to compare a max to a normal infantry soldier. But until that delay comes out for heavy assaults, they're still going to reign supreme. So hopefully, it's been like months since they've actually stated that the shield change will be coming out. Who knows? Praise Malorn, buff the carve, all that jazz. So thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you've had a fantabulous weekend, and I hope you have a cooler weekend ahead of you. Or a week, or a work week, whichever you do. I hope it's full of badassery and awesomeness. If you guys have not checked out, we had some Battlefield 4 patch coverage, got a couple of Aliens episodes coming up, which were from my live stream, and I'm having a blast editing them together and putting them up on YouTube for you guys. Hopefully, you all have been enjoying them. And there you have it, you sexy beast. I hope you have had an enjoyable Sunday, and I will see you guys tomorrow. If you liked the video, please give it a big ass thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like these, go ahead and subscribe. If you have any questions for myself, leave them in the comment section below or send me a YouTube message. Either way, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night, and I'll see you then. Bye, everybody!